So an event is currently unraveling in the crypto space that could end up being bigger than the FTX collapse. And it is not looking good currently. So if you guys remember a couple months back, Genesis, which is the crypto lending firm owned by DCG or Digital Currency Group, which is the firm that owns Grascale as well and led by Barry Silbert, announced that they were going bankrupt. So when Genesis announced that they were going bankrupt, Barry pretty much went quiet. Like, we hadn't heard anything from him from that point. And Genesis had an earn product, which was a lot like BlockFi's product or any of those other, Celsius, things like that, where you deposit your crypto and you earn interest on it. And the reason you're earning interest is because they're lending that money out. So again, they had a similar product like this. So them announcing going bankrupt meant that all of those earn users, the withdrawals were halted. But because Barry went silent, nobody knew really what was going on. What's the plan going forward? I mean, when you look at Celsius and BlockFi, when they went under, something they were talking about it, like everything was planned out pretty much within the month after that. Like, people had answers. There was things going on. They knew it wasn't good, but at least they knew that. In Barry's case, it's just been total silence. Like, nobody knows really what's going on. And it's looking like Digital Currency Group and Grascale could be on the hook for paying back these creditors due to the links between the companies. So this is a big deal because Grascale is currently the biggest crypto trust in the entire space. I mean, they have an AUM of around $50 billion. This was basically the on-ramp for institutional investors. And if they didn't want to get fully into crypto and dive headfirst into it and have to worry about wallets and things like that, they could buy shares of Grascale and get exposure to crypto without having to actually own the crypto. So again, it was great for that use case, but they have so much crypto that if this ends up affecting Grascale and Digital Currency Group by pulling the whole company under, it could cause a lot of downward selling pressure in the crypto space. And the reason that this is becoming so concerning is one, due to Barry's silence, but also a letter was just sent to Barry from Cameron Winklevoss, who is the Gemini exchange owner, because they were a creditor of and a customer of this earn product as well. So I'm going to read you guys the letter that Cameron Winklevoss sent to Barry. It says, Barry, Today marks 47 days since Genesis halted withdrawals. I am writing on behalf of more than 340,000 earn users who are looking for answers. These users aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They are real people. A single mom who lent her son's education money to you. A father who lent his son's bar mitzvah money to you. A husband and wife who lent their life savings to you. A school teacher who lent his children's college fund to you. A policeman, and so many more. Altogether, these people entrusted more than $900 million of their assets to you. They deserve concrete answers, and we are here to get them. For the past 6 weeks, we have done everything we can to engage with you in good faith and collaborative manner in order to reach a consensual resolution for you to pay back the $900 million that you owe, while helping preserve your business. We appreciate that there are startup costs to any restructuring, and at times things don't go as fast as we would all like. However, it is becoming clear that you have been engaging in bad faith stall tactics. For example, on December 2nd, we expressed our belief that getting everyone in a room together as soon as possible will be the most productive path towards reaching a resolution. You agreed, but stated you would only do so after there was a proposal on the table. On December 17th, a proposal was delivered to you. On December 25th, Christmas Day, an updated version of this proposal was delivered to you. Despite this, you continue to refuse to get into a room with us and hash out a resolution. In addition, you continue to refuse to agree to a timeline with key milestones. Every time we ask you for tangible engagement, you hide behind lawyers, investment bankers, and process. After 6 weeks, your behavior is not only completely unacceptable, it is unconscionable. The idea in your head that you can quietly hide in your ivory tower and that this will all just magically go away, or that this is someone else's problem, is pure fantasy. To be clear, this mess is entirely of your own making. Digital Currency Group, which again is the overarching parent here, of which you are the founder and CEO, owes Genesis, its wholly owned subsidiary, about $1.675 billion. This is money that school teachers this is the money of school teachers to fuel greedy share buybacks. illiquid venture investments, and kamikaze grayscale NAV trades that ballooned the fee-generating AUM of your trust, all at the expense of creditors and all for your own personal gain. It is now time for you to take responsibility for this and do the right thing. So basically what they're saying is they took highly risky trades in order to inflate the performance of the fund, which is what all of the other crypto lending firms did and resulted in their blow up, which is, again, what sort of happened here, it looks like. It's not lost on us that you started your career as a bankruptcy restructuring associate. And it's not lost on us that you've been working desperately to try and firewall DCG from the problems that you created at Genesis. You should dispense with this fiction because we all know that that DCG and Genesis are beyond commingled. Everyone takes orders from you and always has. And anything you have done in the fact to pretend otherwise won't hold up. If instead you had put all this energy towards finding a resolution, we would have been done by now. Everyone would be in a better place, including you. Earn users are tired. They are scared. Many are now in dire straits, and yet despite all that they have endured, they have been remarkably patient and supportive. But there is only so much more they can take. They deserve a resolution for recovery of the assets lent to you and an end to this nightmare. To that end, and for the final time, we are asking you to publicly commit to working together to solve this problem by January 8th, 2023. We remain ready and willing to work with you, but time is running out. Sincerely, Cameron Winklevoss. So in a nutshell, what Cameron is saying here is like, look, we were more than willing to cooperate with you. We've put all, different agreements on the table and different plans out there. We tried to reach out and get an idea of what's going on, and it has been absolute silence from Barry. And Barry continued to claim that, DCG and Genesis are separate entities, that one does not affect the other. Therefore, DCG would not be affected by Genesis going bankrupt, which a lot of people, raise their eyebrows about. They kind of question, like, is that really true? I mean, they're all owned by DCG. You would think that there's would be some liability on DCG because of Genesis going bankrupt. And that's what Cameron is saying here. Like, look, there is some liability here, and for you to pretend that there is no liability is ridiculous and won't hold up. So what I think is probably going on here behind the scenes, and this is just straight up my opinion, is that Barry is trying to legally structure things or hurry up and change things the way he can to help prevent DCG from having any exposure to Genesis. But I just don't know how he's going to do that. Obviously, like Cameron says here, he has experience in being, in bankruptcy. So perhaps that's what he's trying to do right now, is he's not saying anything because he's trying to restructure things on the back end without, bringing it to people's attention to try to avoid any liability here, which I would say is probably, that's not fair. That is not fair to the Genesis Earn holders and a lot of the other people who invested in these products. Now, whether they should have put as much money as they did into it, that's not what I'm debating here. But what I am, these guys, they should definitely be responsible, I think, in my opinion, for paying back these Earn users, especially because withdrawals are halted and, that money is basically frozen up and they have no idea what is going on right now. Because, again, Barry has been absolute silence. So something we want to watch here, though, is the holdings of Grascale. If they were forced to sell their entire balance sheet, what they would be able to sell today would be these tokens listed. We have a tweet from Carl OX. It says, if Grascale is forced to sell their balance sheet to cover Genesis creditors, these tokens would be the most impacted. And you can see their total dollar amount holdings. So Grascale Holdings is holding about 14.6 billion now. The 50 billion that I saw earlier might have been peak bull market. I'm not sure how that one was calculated, but you can see their holdings here, and you can see the percentage of the market cap. So again, this is a huge deal, and I do believe they have other assets that aren't listed in here, which again would equate to somewhere around the 50 billion, just because there's a lot of money branched off from Grascale. DCG as a whole, I think, is how they get the 50 billion, arrive at the 50 billion AUM. But again, this is what we'd be looking at for the biggest holdings of Grascale. And yeah, you can see, I mean, a lot of tokens would take a big hit here if they were forced to sell all of this. And again, if they were bankrupt, I think that, I don't know if they would be forced to sell it or if they'd be forced to just transfer the crypto. I'd imagine it'd probably end up being selling because that'd be the only way that they could, really calculate the dollar amounts. So Yeah, I mean, that would not be good. Nobody wants that at all. And I feel like I almost feel bad for making these videos because I feel like it's been nothing but bad news lately. Like, it's just been one thing right after the other in the crypto space. And it's all comes down to leverage. Like, all of these companies were way over leveraged and commingled with each other. There was barely any risk parameters and things set in place to, counterparty risk. Like, these types of things just didn't exist in crypto. Like, they were not doing their due diligence, and greed got the better of them. And now we're seeing the effects of that, which is why we are seeing, like, basically what is the financial collapse of crypto. They're really taking us down to the foundation right now, because crypto is going to have a lot of rebuilding to do after this. But again, wanted to bring it to your guys' attention to let you know what was going on, because again, it's getting pretty high profile now. The fact that Cameron Winklevoss is writing these letters to Barry signifies that, look, something's going to have to break here. One way or the other, we got to figure something out. So, guys, if this is your first time to the channel, please like and subscribe. And with that being said, I will see you all next time.